Hello beautiful people and welcome to an awesome episode in which we're not just only gonna try to describe Ada Wong, which is the new exclusively Navy hero, but also at the same time I think it's gonna be super worth it after we have a look at her design to also try to figure out what would be the best setup possible in which we can implement Ada. And I'm pretty sure you guys already had a look at her design. And honestly speaking, till now, I have not yet found the correct word to describe this design. Is it interesting? I don't know. Is it weird? Most likely, it definitely looks like a lot of fun to evaluate, because if I would like to summarize this hero's design, would be literally equivalent to me giving Ada in her right hand a fire gun while giving her in the left hand a water gun. Which definitely sounds crazy, doesn't it? So you know what, beautiful people? Let's put her back to back with another universal hero with indestructible buff for the Navy. Obviously, yeah, we could use Duke. We can do that, but I'm gonna choose specifically for this case, Laya. And you're gonna understand in a moment why I have chosen Laya. So, first of all, we have to mention that Ada is exactly like Laya, exclusively only for the Navy. And the first and the most important thing which we have to mention, if you are choosing to use either Laya or Ada, if you're gonna use the encyclement units on slot 7 and on slot 9, just like this for example, not just only you will not get the indestructible shield for the slot 7 and slot 9, also, neither Laya and neither Ada will gonna proc her skill from the slot 7 and slot 9, meaning in other words, yeah, the hero won't work, there is no magic. Anyways, let's go back to Laya. So this is pretty typical, you're gonna get just one round with indestructible buff. The value is 40%, we see on the other side Laya with 36%. And now let's jump into the active skill. So after each regular attack coming exclusively only from your Navy units, you're gonna have a chance to trigger 3 attacks. Each one of these attacks is gonna do 90% damage. And that's why when you have a look on the other side of the screen, you see Laya having actually 4 attacks by default with 80% damage. But up this moment, it starts to be very interesting or weird or you name it, because Ada will gonna prioritize enemy slots without the debilitation effect, while at the same time she's gonna apply 1 stack of debilitation on the targeted slots. So if you have not understood exactly what this means, keep watching this video because I'm gonna break it down to you, because I'm also gonna explain you with the help of the other 2 heroes which you definitely should use Ada with. And here comes the spicy stuff, the passive skill, because each time Wanda skill is gonna hit a slot without the debilitation, while again she is gonna prioritize these slots, one random slot of yours will gonna get 1 stack of heavy armor and 1 stack of light armor, which will gonna play a massive role when it comes down to which support hero would technically work best with Ada. More to this in a second. So good, let's jump to Ada's exclusive skill. Level 3 looks absolutely common, everybody knows it by now. So when we have a look at the level 5 exclusive skill of Ada, it looks slightly different than Laya's, because obviously you're gonna get 1 more round of indestructible buff, but instead of getting a 1 extra hit, you're gonna get a 25% damage increase to this 90% damage which you do for every of these 3 hits if Ada will gonna proc. Obviously we want also to discuss the level 7 exclusive of the skill, because you're gonna get an even higher indestructible buff, because it's gonna be increased by 10%. And on top of this, the active skill of Ada is no longer 3 hits, it's going to be 4 or 5 times, so I don't quite understand this. Maybe, most likely Rework game thought we do not have enough RNG in TOPWAR right now, so why not? If you're unlucky, you're going to hit 4 times, if you're lucky, you're going to hit 5 times. Guys, who knows? Definitely not a brilliant idea. But anyways, here is the hilarious part of this episode, because I'm going to show you with what 2 heroes am I expecting Ada to perform best. And before we do that, let's summarize the second Ada and presume for a second the march which you're seeing now on the screen is actually your opponent march. So Ada, per default and also all the way up to level 5 exclusive skill, if she procs, gonna hit 3 targets, and we're gonna apply the debilitation effect on these 3 targets. Meaning, in other words, you're gonna have 6 slots without the debilitation from one single proc. And that's important because if she's gonna hit a slot without the debilitation on, that's the moment in which one random slot of your march will gonna get this one stack of heavy armor and one stack of light armor, which is definitely far more than just the damage reduction, will actually gonna improve the performance of certain support heroes. More to this in a second. Meaning, in other words, in order to take full advantage of this hero, you also would like to avoid having too many slots with debilitation effect on. Meaning, in other words, taking consideration that the support hero has an active skill. Ada has an active skill, meaning in other words, yeah, we also have debilitation runes which you could theoretically equip on each of these heroes, applying extra debilitation, which will definitely gonna interact in a negative way with the second part of this hero design, applying this heavy armor and light armor if the slot doesn't have the debilitation. Meaning in other words, let's reset the whole margin here. And let's start actually with the support hero. And first of all, if you are using Crimson or if you are using Zen, these two heroes will do more damage if they have debilitation or if they have vulnerability effect on the targets. And if you're gonna pair Crimson or Zen together with Ada and an offense buffing hero, you're gonna get every now and then this 15% heavy armor effect and 15% light armor effect, which is nothing else than a damage reduction versus hero damage of your opponent versus regular attacks from your opponent, but they won't do more damage. Meaning, in other words, the best support hero when it comes down to Ada is definitely Meowzilla. But you know what, dear beautiful people, this time I think I'm gonna give another chance to this very questionable hero called Maybelline, because both heroes, Meowzilla and Maple, will perform even better if they have extra damage reduction shields. So from this perspective, let's put back actually Meowzilla like this. Imagine for a second we also have Ada in this march. And now we're definitely gonna need a hero with the offense buffing capability. And it will still not be that simple. Because obviously, I'm gonna recommend you Laya, a great hero. But for the Navy, we also have another great hero, which is Jester. But in order to understand, again, this conflict in the March synergy between Ada and Jester, let's have a look at Jester's hero design. Because what you're seeing here is that Jester has a chance to apply a 30% debilitation. The value, particularly in this case, doesn't necessarily play a role for what I'm about, for the point which I'm trying to make. But Jester will apply a debilitation effect on minimum 2, maximum 4 slots, while at the same time we have Ada applying debilitation also on 3 slots, and this heavily reduces the amount of slots which will not be affected by debilitation, meaning in other words also the chance for you to get one extra layer of heavy armor and one extra layer of light armor, which will definitely gonna improve the performance of Meowzilla and Maybelline. So yeah, beautiful people, that is the exact reason why I have chosen to say at the beginning of this episode that the way Ada's design looks like is, for me, in other words, giving her in one hand a water gun while giving her in the other hand a fire gun. And honestly, I still have not found the correct word which would describe this hero design. If we are willing to take one step back, I think there is a reason why Ada looks exactly the way she does right now. And why not? Let's add this also in this episode. Super important. Which type of players would benefit more from Ada? We are talking about free-to-play players all the way up to the whales. And let me explain you why. Now, if you in general have opponents which are far weaker than you are definitely not gonna get a higher advantage from using Ada. And let's imagine for a second this match which you're seeing now on the screen is your opponent. Because what I'm trying to tell you, you're gonna hit far harder. Meaning, in other words, you're gonna eliminate slots extremely fast from your opponent, leading into less slots which will be able to not have the debilitation effect in order for Ada's design together with Meowzilla, for example, to be able to hit harder. But if in general your opponents are slightly stronger than you, I think you will get an advantage from using Ada because you are not hitting that hard. Meaning, in other words, in your battles, you are not able that easily to remove one slot, then another one, then another one. Meaning, in other words, this right here, what is on the screen, represents your opponent's march. Your opponent will keep a higher amount of slots with a couple of units on for a longer period in a battle, giving the opportunity for Ada to always find a slot without the debilitation, which will gonna cause that extra heavy armor and light armor on a random slot of your march. It's a pretty interesting conclusion, isn't it? So yeah, beautiful people, we're gonna see this hero tomorrow at Reset. And honestly, I'm planning to stream tomorrow at Reset, but still right now in my real life, I have a couple of things which requires my absolute attention and I need to fix those stuff. I'm aiming to stream tomorrow, but it's also possible I will not be able to. And even if I will not stream tomorrow, dear beautiful people, I will make sure I'm gonna make at least 1 or 2 videos in order to show you the performance of Ada with the battle reports, because if you watch the episode till now, it's absolutely normal to be slightly confused, and that's why the battle reports videos are the most simplest and the most efficient way to highlight you guys with the numbers if a hero in a certain march configuration is actually an improvement or not. So beautiful people, as always, yeah, do not forget to support what supports you back, and the best way to do so is actually 100% free, because you should definitely subscribe to this channel. Obviously, watch my videos till the end. Share this channel with your friends. Thank you very much for watching, and I will gonna catch you in the next episode tomorrow. Ciao, ciao, ciao.